The KLR 650 is one of the greatest adventure bikes of all times, so they say. I'm going to tell you why I think that's a bunch of bull. Over the last 4 years, I've owned 4 different KLRs, one of them being a Gen 1 250, 2 of them being Gen 1 650s, and my latest purchase was a Gen 3 650. In this video, I'm going to go over 3 pros and 3 cons of the KLR 650, and then I'm going to tell you why I sold mine and why I don't regret it. Reason number 1 why I think the KLR 650 is an awesome bike. It's so simple, it's kind of stupid. You have one cylinder, one spark plug, almost no electronics, and everything can be accessed with basic hand tools, and most of them come with the bike. Reason number 2 why I really like KLR 650s. The aftermarket support is incredible. You can buy almost anything you need on Amazon for less than $100. A bike like my Suzuki V-Strom, you have to stick with high-end parts like SW Motec and Jivi, and they can typically only be bought from large online retailers, and they're quite a bit more expensive, harder to find, longer wait times, and not nearly as many options. So I greatly appreciate the KLR. You can get anything, anywhere, anytime, any color, any size, you name it. If you want it, somebody has probably made it. The third reason I love the KLR 650 is that it is very fun to ride. It's very comfy, it's extremely forgiving, it's very hard to stall, and it's very torquey. I heard a long time ago that it's a lot more fun to ride a slow bike fast than it is to ride a fast bike slow, and for the most part I would say that's pretty accurate. When you're riding in the city on a KLR, you pretty much have to be full throttle everywhere, and it's just a blast. On a bike like this, or a really fast bike, you know, you're kind of limited to second or third gear in the city, and it's just not as fun because you're not using the bike's full potential. But when you're riding down the street, you know, in a 50 or 60 zone, kilometers an hour, you know, you could pretty much use every single gear. You're constantly running up 1 through 5, and it just gives you a lot more to do. So now we're going to talk about the cons of owning a KLR 650. This first one is going to be a little bit subjective, but I think it's still fairly applicable to most people. The issue is you have to spend so much money getting this bike to where you want it to be, and it's still gonna ride like a KLR 650. You could spend 10 grand and it's still not gonna have proper highway capabilities or proper off-road capabilities. I spent roughly $4,000 on mine, and yeah, it was great. I added some comfort, I added some accessories, I added some stuff to make it look better and function better, but it was still slow, and that's kind of a big deal to me. The second reason I sold the bike is because it is so heavy. And if you're actually trying to do any off-road, I think there's a lot better options out there, such as the DRZ 400, the DR 650, the BMW GS 650, the XR 650. You get the point. The KLR comes in, I believe, around 460 pounds, which is almost 100 pounds heavier than most of its predecessors. I'd like to thank you for sticking around to the end. I'm now going to reveal the third and final reason why I sold my KLR 650. And that is simply because it is not highway capable. I did a lot of reading, and a lot of people said it was fine. A lot of people said it wasn't. I decided to take the chance, and I was very regretful that I did. I think that I was not honest with myself when I was buying my brand new KLR about just how much highway to off-road split I would have. And honestly, I probably spend 95% of my time on the highway and the other 5% off-road. So if you're like me, if you're doing any decent amount of highway travel, touring, I would highly suggest staying away from the KLR. It is way too buzzy. It is way too slow. It's just way too taxing on your body. You are much more fatigued riding on the highway on that than you would be on something like this. And that's why I decided to buy a used V-Strom, because I could get it cheaper than my new KLR, and I'm much happier on the highway. The KLR 650 only has 5 gears, and it's a single cylinder. It's extremely buzzy, and once you're up around 110 kilometers an hour, it does not have much more in the tank. So if you're trying to pass, good luck.